Wednesday, July 16th, 2025, here at the Old City Market, 131 West Bellevue. The hearing is for the purpose of receiving any and all objections for the general public in connection with the following. First ordinance sponsored by Councilwoman Vivian Olivier, an ordinance to amend St. Andrew Parish Ordinance Chapter 44, Section 44-14, so that Chris Road, Clarence Cormier Road, and Domingo Road in Opelousas, Louisiana, can be included on the list of roads in St. Andrew Parish that are designated as no truck or 18-wheeler through traffic routes. Any comments, questions, or concerns from the council? Or any comments, questions, or concerns from the general public? We will give this 15 minutes.
Those roads are not in Opelousas.
As far as the city limits of Opelousas?
No, they're in Yankton.
Right, right. Yeah, I don't recognize them as being in the city limits.
No, they're not.
Okay.
Not in the city limits, but why they got Opelousas on here? Domingue Road, Opelousas.
That would be that's the mailing address.
Huh?
Oh, okay.
I checked all the roads, they're all outside of the municipality limits. But each road is near a municipality, so that's why they say one could be by Leonville, one by Opelousas and things like that, but each one of these roads are outside of the municipalities. I checked them to make sure.
Right, okay.
Okay. Mr. Lieutenant.
I mean, Moving on to the next ordinance, ordinance number 2025-019, sponsored by Councilman Patrick Jolivet. An ordinance to amend the procedures for collection of charges for St. Andrew Parish government's abatement of nuisance violations by mandating the charges, one, to be added to annual ad valorem tax bills by the tax assessor or tax collector, and two, to be collected by the tax collector. Any questions, comments, or concerns from the council or anyone in the general public? We will give this item a few minutes. I recognize Mr. Taylor.
Well, thank you, sir. Mr. Jolivet.
Yes, sir.
Okay, how are we collecting this now?
I think it's coming by way of letter,
Letter.
and they usually get a little time. I don't know how much time it is, but what's happening is they're not collecting, the people are not paying it. And then we just go from letter to letter, and it's just getting long and drawn out, and in this way, it's just put at the end of the year, it's put to their taxes, gotta pay it, and if they don't, then they take the necessary procedures. It's just a whole lot less work.
And the process or the procedure is, once we do the 60-day or 30-day notice and all, and they fail to pay, you bring it to the assessor?
Yes, sir.
The parish president or
assessor.
his office brings it to the assessor?
Yeah,
Okay.
the way I understood it, I did kind of inquire about how the tax portion is collected, so at the end of the year, the same amount of time that we're given to pay our taxes at the end of the year, I think it's 30, 60 days.
Yeah.
They have that much time. It's all assessed in one lump sum instead of having two different time of collections.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
He's so happy they named that little storm. You gotta have like. Nice. When it gets back, it's just got to put it back on. No. Yeah.
HOAs.
This time, I'd like to call to order St. Landry Parish Council regular meeting for Wednesday, July 16, 2025, here at the Old City Market. We will start with the pledge of allegiance and invocation by Councilman Alvin Step. All right, Madam Clerk, we'll have roll call. Here.
Miss Nancy Carrion. Mr. Fulton Johnson.
Present.
Miss Mildred Theory. Here. Mr. Harold Taylor. Mr. Ken Marks.
Here.
Mr. Alvin Stelly.
Here.
Miss Vivian Olivier. Mr. Wayne Ordway.
Here.
Mr. Dexter Brown. Mr. Timmy Lejeune.
Here.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards.
Here.
And Mr. Ernest Blanchard.
Here.
Okay, at this time, before we go any further, we have amendments to the agenda. Amendments which include resolution number 017-2025 and resolution number 018-2025. Everyone should have a copy in front of them.
Resolution.
There are two resolutions, and also to authorize the council clerk to advertise for an appointment.
What's the resolution?
I can read them out. Resolution 017-2025, a resolution authorizing the president to execute an agreement with the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development for improvements at the St. Andrew Parish Airport.
Yeah, that's the airport one. Okay, yeah.
And 018-2025, a resolution authorizing the president to execute an agreement with Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development for improvements at the St. Andrew Parish Airport. It reads the same, but obviously there must be something different within
Yeah,
the wording of each one.
yeah, one's the taxiway and the other one's,
Yeah, this is it here.
the runway 1836.
Okay, and the authorization for the council clerk to advertise for an appointment to the Cooley Cross Gravity Drainage District number 22 for the remainder of a 4-year term. We were notified that one of the members passed away in May, so that position need to be filled. Got a motion
Second.
and a second.
This is to amend
Yes.
Resolution 17.
Okay, just for 17 right now.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
One at a
yes,
time.
ma'am. One at a time.
Yeah, we have to check them one at a time.
Yes.
Go ahead, roll call.
Okay. Miss Nancy Carrion.
Yes.
Mr. Fulton Johnson.
Yes.
Miss Mildred
Yes.
Theory. Mr. Harold Taylor.
Yes.
Mr. Ken Marks.
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly.
Yes.
Miss Vivian Olivier.
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Ordway.
Yes.
Mr. Dexter Brown. Mr. Timmy Lejeune?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, and now to amend the agenda to add resolution number 018-2025.
Second.
Mr. Falter Jollyvet?
Yes.
Ms. Mildred
Yes.
Berry? Mr. Harold Taylor? Mr. Ken Marks?
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly?
Yes.
Ms. Vivian Olivier?
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Ordway?
Yes.
Mr. Dexter Brown? Mr. Timmy Lejeune?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards? Mr. Ernest Blanchard?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, and the last amendment is to authorize the council clerk to advertise for one appointment to Kool-Aid Crush Gravity Drainage District Number 22, the remainder of a 4-year term.
Made.
Second.
Ms. Mildred Theory?
Yes.
Mr. Harold Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Ken Marks?
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly?
Yes.
Ms. Vivian Olivier?
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Ordway?
Yes.
Mr. Timmy Lejeune?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard?
Yes.
Ms. Nancy Carrier?
Yes.
Mr. Falter Jollivet?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, amendments done. At this time, we'll move to condolences. Starting at my far right, Councilwoman Carrier.
Not at this time.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Jolivet.
I have none, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Councilwoman Theory.
Orton Joseph, Joshua Guidry, Alfred Victorian, Marlene Winbush, Lillian Lujuba Stewart, Rochelle Lewis, and Gwendolyn Charles, LaFawn David Swallow, Seville Jack Stanberry, Williams, James Shelton Dortez Sr., Christina Marie Hayes, Fairleigh Glenn Ross, John Tippett Taylor, Larry Guillory, Rosalie Harrison, Samara Bonita Antoine, Willie Smith Jr., James Robert, Marie Eaglin, and Stacy Marie Hunt. That concludes my list.
Okay,
None at this
Thank
time, Mr. Chairman.
okay, sir. Mr. Marks.
Yes, Juanita Terrio, Ruby Morris, James Brent Smith, Albert Charles Hickenbotham, Terry and Judy Richard, Sue Ann Como, Stacy Artigo Richard, James Shelton Dortez Sr., Noah Joseph Ducote, Joseph Michael Beard, Eddie Glenn Johnson, Bennett Michael Ellis, and Anthony Raymond Angona. Concludes
sir.
my list.
Thank you, sir.
None at
Staley?
this time.
Okay, Ms. Olivia.
None at this time.
Mr. Ordway.
Bennett Michael Ellis at Lafon, and Lucian Marks at Vincent Funeral Home in Abbeville.
Thank you, sir.
That concludes mine.
Mr. Lejeune.
Mr. Jody, I don't have any, but I would ask that we take a moment of silence after this for all the deceased, but as well as the people that are in Texas that are suffering from the devastation from the bad storms and abroad the nation, please.
Well noted when this is done. Yes, sir. Okay, Mr. Edwards.
I don't have none at this time.
Okay, Mr. Blanchard.
I turned mine in.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to say, I want to recognize Mr. Ben Blue for over 20 years. At this time, by request of Mr. Lejeune, we will take a few seconds of silence. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on, we have persons to address the council. Starting off with Miss Mary Agason and Craig Agason in reference to 106 Hidalgo Road. I will couple that with the next person, Miss Tammy Ned, 494 Perry Drive of Opelousas. According to code enforcement, we should, did you put it in everyone's? Okay, in front of everyone, we should have emails that were sent by them. They couldn't make it tonight. But I think what it is, they're both requesting a little bit more time in reference to the issues of their property. Code enforcement, you have a question for code enforcement?
I just want to make sure we did all our due diligence and what we had to do to make sure that they were aware of what was going on?
Yeah, they all,
Okay.
they will all serve the proper paper, then they asking for 60 and 90-day, extensions on their time. We normally do some type of an extension on the
Yes, sir.
first round,
And that's
whatever y'all
acceptable?
feel. Sir?
That's acceptable.
I mean, I think that's
Yeah.
fine, yeah, as long as they make some type of an attempt, you
Okay.
know? And then also, we have that ordinance tonight that's gonna help us with that problem for later
Right.
on.
Okay, I recognize Councilwoman Carey.
They trying, yeah. I don't think it's,
So do we need to offer,
Oh, no, Councilwoman, were you completed with your question, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, all right, Ms.
so
Perry.
do we need to offer, an extension at this point? Or
it's,
Well, it's
It's
gonna
on the
be under the
agenda.
new business, so I think at that point, we can then
Okay.
say what we wanna do with it,
Okay.
okay? Go ahead, Mr.
Question.
Jolivet.
Have these property owners have been addressed prior to this time?
oh, yes.
Is this
They-
a
By the time it
return?
gets here, we already did a whole lot more. And then like this is the final straw to get to the council. We try not to have to come here because when it gets here, it's like, okay, they're gonna have to do something or we're gonna tear it down.
Okay.
So most of the time they work with us, but sometimes we gotta come here first.
Do y'all have a problem with these people that request time?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay.
No.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on from those two, we also have Mr. Charles Goodwill, Marjorie Tyler Goodwill, Shannon Goodwill. Anyone in the audience in reference to that? Or do we need any further information from? Okay. And then moving on from that would be Mr. Robert Louis Fontenot, 958 Highway 749.
So, Mr. Chairman, I have a question. So all the other people haven't asked for a request for extension?
That's correct.
Those are gonna be-
Microphone, please.
Yes,
sorry.
yes.
So all those other people, the people that was just named hasn't asked for a request for an extension, so then we would have to make a decision on that.
That's correct.
Okay, you
I'm
done?
finished.
Okay, Mr. Lejeune?
I just want to be clear that all these people requested an extension. Is that correct? Everything in bold print?
No, sir.
No, that's, if I may, that's what Councilwoman Carrier
I
just
didn't
asked.
hear her.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the first two, just the fact that they sent emails show that there's some type of communication. The second two, there's nothing from them in reference to extensions.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, good to go?
So, oh,
All right.
we'll take this up further down and
Yes, yes, new business, we have to go to each one. All right, approval of minutes. We need approval of minutes for the regular meeting of June 18th, 2025.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Harold Taylor?
Yeah.
Mr. Ken Marks?
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly? Ms. Vivian Olivier?
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Ordway?
Yes.
Mr. Timmy Legend? Mr. Jimmy Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard?
Yes.
Miss Nancy Carrier?
Yes.
Mr. Paultrey Jollyvet?
Yes.
Miss Mildred
Yes.
Berry? Motion passed.
Approval of minutes for the Energy Board meeting that was held on June 25th of 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ken Marks?
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly? Miss Vivian Olivier?
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Ordway?
Yes.
Mr. Timmy Legend?
Yeah.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard?
Yes.
Miss Nancy Carrier?
Yes.
Mr. Paultrey Jollyvet?
Yes.
Miss Mildred Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Harold Taylor?
Yes.
Motion passed.
And the approval of minutes for the special meeting that was held on June 25th of 2025.
So moved.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay,
Mr. Chairman.
wait before we move forward.
I have a question. That was the one with the FEMA? Was that the meeting? The 25th? I was just trying to ask.
Yes, that's what
If
it
you
was,
could
yeah.
just, I couldn't make it to that meeting. I think it was last Wednesday, Wednesday before last. Could you just give a little brief, something really quick, what was discussed? I know it's a meeting with the FEMA guys. And I don't
No, but that was, this meeting wasn't, the FEMA thing was at the Delta Grant, not for this, not for these minutes, no.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's for the,
So that's fine.
Yeah.
I thought it was this one.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Mr. Alvin Stelly. Ms. Vivian Olivier.
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Aldwin.
Yes.
Mr. Timmy Legend. Mr. Jimmy Edwards.
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard.
Yes.
Miss Nancy Carrier.
Yes.
Mr. Poultry Jollyvet.
Yes.
Miss Mildred Theory.
Yes.
Mr. Harold Taylor.
Yes.
Mr. Ken Marks.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, next we'll have the parish president's report.
So we have a couple of things that I want to bring up tonight. We have Andrew with Foley and Judell that's going to come up and speak about a resolution and ordinance for the line of credit for this year. If that's okay with the council, he can come up and speak now.
Okay, give us your name again, sir.
Andrew Jaro with Foley and Udell.
Okay, you can, yes. You can
Yeah, so we're helping the parish president out and you guys out with the line of credit, renewing the line of credit that the parish had last year. And the amount this year will be, we're expecting it to be around 4.6 million, and that's to pay off last year's and to pay the current operating expenses for the parish through the rest of the year. We have it set to, right now, we're expecting it to expire in 13 months, next October, and that'll give time for I believe the pilot payments to come in.
Right.
And that's how the parish president is planning to pay it off. And so the resolution that we need adopted tonight lets us get that process started. It allows us to make application to bond commission, all borrowings. I'm sure you all know all borrowings have to be approved by the state bond commission. And then it retains us as bond counsel. And then we'll also need to introduce an ordinance that'll be adopted at the next meeting. And that'll authorize the actual borrowing after everything's been approved and we get everything together.
Okay, any questions?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
What was the amount again?
4.6 million.
And
And it's not, so right now, sorry, let me clarify. It's not to exceed 4.6 million, so that would be the maximum
I got
authorized.
it, but what is it for?
So the parish president might be able to
Yeah,
speak
so
to
that's
that.
our line of credit. So last year we borrowed 2 million and paid back, we,
This is for recurring expenses?
correct. So
So we're gonna borrow another
So-
4 million
No,
for
it's gonna
recurring
be-
expenses?
4.6, but what it is that we had to pay for the matches for these grants and stuff. And this year in 25, we should have received the money from Next Era because they were supposed to pay in
How
25.
much is that gonna be?
5 million.
How much?
5 million. So
5
Our
million.
anticipated revenue for 25 with them was $5 million for the pilot payment, but they pushed it back a whole year. So we're having to pay the match programs and everything else through the grants and the appropriations through our own money or
I
turn
got
money
it, but,
out.
you know, we put grants in our budget and they don't come through until the next year. And this is voodoo economics, gentlemen and ladies. I can't go along with this. We borrowed 2 million plus another 2.5 for the equipment. I mean, where are we getting the money to pay all this back? I mean, we got some serious problems here, and
It's either we match the money or we turn the money down and send it back. So if we would have got the money this year like it was planned, then we would have to borrow no money. But of course,
but Mr. President, we budget and we follow a budget. Hell, we were 2 million over on our budget last year. I mean, we can't continue doing this. I mean, come on, guys.
completely
I
agree.
mean, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, I can't. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Councilwoman Carey?
Yes, I know you mentioned about the pilot payments. Is that a guarantee?
yes, it could be a guarantee for next year whenever they start doing the work. They don't do the pilot payments until they actually do the work. So the work starts in the second quarter of 26. They push it back a year.
So the pilot payments won't start until what, 27 or whenever?
No, 26.
It's gonna, I know the work is gonna start in 26, but the payments are gonna start
And 26, so it's in lieu of state sales tax. So whenever they buy the equipment and everything they need for the project, they gotta pay the taxes. And that's what they gotta pay the pilot payment.
So we have all this in writing, but, you know.
Yes,
I've never seen it, so I mean,
It's with SLED.
pardon me?
That's with SLED. We did that about 2 years ago.
Well, the 5 million is news to me, and I don't usually miss many meetings. Can you give us a copy of the
Oh, we
document?
can, yeah.
Yeah.
It actually went up So we on the guarantee of 5 million, but they saying it could be as much as 6.5 because of inflation, but I don't want to bank on 6.5.
But they could delay it another year too.
That's my problem.
We have any other options?
Turn the money back in, like the appropriation money that we get every year, we gotta have a 25% match. And that's where we're catching up right now. Whenever we apply for the grants, it takes 2 years to get the grants in. And then everything was applied for and approved, and then now the match money is not here.
Okay. Mr. Jolivet, you had a question?
Yes, sir, a couple of them, but this last thing you said, so when we apply for the grants, we don't have a definite date when the money's coming, and when it comes, then we got to match, and sometimes we just may not have those funds.
Correct. Like, I'm gonna give you an example. We applied for 1.1 million, 1.125 million last year for some stuff at the airport. We were told we didn't get it. Day before yesterday, we were told we got it. I'm glad we got it, but it won't come until next year.
Wow.
And then, you know, we just finished spending some money for the airport that we got in 23. So it takes a couple of years to come in and do the work.
Understand. The pilot payments, is it going to be one lump sum? Or is it
And quality payments.
quarterly?
Yeah.
You said it's going to start around the second quarter, anywhere between
second
April and
quarter of
June
26.
26.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Councilwoman?
So it kind of sounds like we're catching up to keep up. Because
That's got to
we're
speak
not-
in on
Microphone,
mic.
please.
Yeah.
I said it
Go ahead,
sounds
Mike.
like we're catching up to keep up because we're not keeping up. So, you know, I'm kind of with Mr. Taylor on this because is that something that Mr. Musa would have saw in foresight or not? This was never
You know-
mentioned before.
I mean, nobody knows that. I mean, the application process starts, like I said, 2 years ago. So it's only recognized when it's received. We apply for a lot of different grants. We don't always get the grants that we apply for, but we've been very lucky for the last couple of years. So we want to try to keep that going. That's how we can get things done in our parishes, by using federal and state money. But it does come with some matches sometimes.
Now,
It can-
now, Mr.
Wait.
President, I want to ask this. I did hear you say that, with next era, if we were to receive that pilot, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But right now, it just had to be pushed back a year.
That's
And
correct.
they're gonna start the work in 2026, which means the pilot should come in at that point.
That's correct.
Mr. Taylor?
If others need to go before me, I've already asked a couple of questions. If someone
No,
else.
I didn't see anybody's hand.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Bell, are you talking about next year? Are you talking about that second phase that we voted on the other night?
No, the first one.
That's the
The
first
one
one?
that's gonna be done in, by Leonville.
That's the one on 103? Polang, Olivier?
It's some of the Polang property,
Yeah.
correct.
Part of Olivier?
It's not on the 103, I
Four
think.
four landowners.
741.
So that's what's holding everything up, is because they haven't started over there yet?
They haven't started everything is signed now. They signed this year. The process is be next, March before they start doing groundbreaking. But it's all, everything is signed, ready to go.
Okay, now back to you.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Bellard, in 2024, we had to borrow $2 million to cover over budget, spending over the budget. In your 25 budget, you're showing we're going to borrow another $1.5 million to cover those expenses. Is that part of this 4.5 million? or
That's
6
correct.
million?
Yeah, it's just to pay off the last year's money.
Okay, we have no further questions. Move text, was that it with your parish, president's report? You have more?
No, we got the resolution that I need to pass tonight. He has it. You guys should have a copy of it, though.
There is a copy. There is a copy in the packet. I have a copy of it here. My question, Mr. Chairman, do we have to vote on this tonight, or can you give us some other paperwork that ties in everything right here?
No, we need
I
to
mean-
get it tonight, and that's all the paperwork we have right there. The
And-
resolution.
If I may, the resolution doesn't require the parish to borrow any money. The resolution could be adopted tonight. You could get state bond commission approval and decide we don't want to borrow the money. It won't obligate the parish to borrow any money if you
It's the
adopt
ordinance that
the
does that.
resolution. All right, correct.
It's the ordinance that does that.
It just allows us to make application to state bond commission by the deadline next week
Deadline is next week.
for the August meeting. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Second.
Miss Vivian Olivier? Yes. Mr. Timmy Lejeune?
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Aldwin?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard?
Yes.
Miss Nancy Carrier?
No.
Mr. Paul Jollivet?
Yes.
Miss Mildred
Yes.
Leary? Mr. Harold Taylor?
No.
Mr. Ken Marks?
No.
Mr. Alvin Stelly? Motion passed.
All right, moving on to new business.
I'm not finished.
Oh, you're not?
No, we have that ordinance to be introduced. You should have a copy of that ordinance as well.
Wait a minute.
What order? Yeah. I thought this was a resolution.
Which one is that, Mr. Bellard?
You said the, ordinance?
Ordinance or resolution?
It's an ordinance.
Order to sell the following 47 properties? No?
No, it's the ordinance for the line of credit.
It's not, I can see it. Oh, it's not there. No.
Shit.
Hey. Hey.
Oh, man.
No way.
Don't have a copy of the,
What's the number? Ordinance number what?
I don't think it was given a number yet.
Okay.
No, we're the one with the ordinance. Who wrote the ordinance?
Maybe.
I don't see it. Maybe.
Yeah, Jamie gave it to, Sherelle.
Anybody have?
Okay.
I don't see a copy in this packet.
No, I don't see it either.
We didn't get a copy.
Who wrote the ordinance? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Lejeune.
Who wrote the ordinance?
It would have been just the
Who was the sponsor?
Yeah, it's just been a title for the ordinance.
Yeah, it would have just been the
But
title.
it was given to Sherelle to put on, for the council meeting tonight, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Is that from Darnell Insight?
No.
No, we didn't, I didn't get anything. Sherelle left Monday. We didn't get anything Tuesday or Wednesday. I didn't get any copies.
Mr. Chairman, I ask that we move on. If we don't have the ordinance, let's move on, and then it comes up in finance at the next committee meeting.
I'll call a special meeting to introduce the ordinance.
Okay.
So, next thing is, of course, with the storm update, we have sandbags and everything that we think we're gonna need. Hopefully, we don't need as much as we have, but we do have them. And if you have some elderly or handicapped people that need some help, please let us know so we can take care of that as soon as we can. Most of y'all know y'all area, so it's usually some of the same people will go and do it. So y'all just let us know. And an update on the FEMA meeting that we had with the mayors. Basically, President Trump has put a council together to study FEMA and to come up with a plan to fix FEMA. The parish presidents met with one of their representatives a couple of weeks ago in Baton Rouge, and we expressed our concerns. Basically, we all had the same concerns. It's too slow, and whenever FEMA comes in, you never deal with the same person twice. So you always have one person coming in to do the initial call, but then later on they change hands and we have to deal with somebody else, and then a lot of things change. So that's another thing. Other thing was the ARA funding that we did with the ARA money. We asked that federal government do the same thing with FEMA. and let the local governments be accountable for that money. Because if you wait on FEMA, you can wait 2 years for your money to come back. You're gonna expense it and you won't get it back for a couple of years. And it depends on which worker you have. So that's another problem. So our recommendation to the FEMA council was just that. ARA worked fine, everybody gets audited, so let the money flow down to the locals, let the locals handle it. And then the criteria is the same for everything. You gotta track all your expenses and make sure you do it right, and you get audited, so it's not a big deal. So, we talked about that at the FEMA, at the meeting with the mayors, and in the paperwork. So, everything has to flow through my office to get to the state. If it doesn't come through our office, then it doesn't get to the state and the numbers are not there. Our parish has to have X amount of dollars of loss to be declared. Then our numbers go to the state has to have X amount of numbers declared to get FEMA assistance. So we asked the mayors to do their paperwork on time and submit it to us so we can submit it to the state, so we can get our money faster than, but there's a lot of different things that's happening with FEMA. Some talks were that they were only gonna pay 50% of the expenses. Talking to that council member and that over there in Baton Rouge, they say that's not true, but there's nothing official saying that what they're gonna be doing. They have until October of this year to finalize their report and submit it to President Trump's office. So January 1, he can make changes to FEMA.
Councilwoman Carey?
So in the meantime, because we're expecting a storm, so, and I also heard you say that all the parishes and everything goes through the state. So is it all or none before area can be declared disaster, or it still can be individual areas?
So
What happens in the meantime?
basically, like today, I declared an emergency for the storm coming up. That's just a procedure that's in place. If you don't have it in place, you don't get anything. So we did that today. But the next step is as a parish, and then everybody can get some type of reimbursement.
Okay, I recognize Mr. Staley first.
How much, you talking about money, how much money that we gotta account for before FEMA takes over? I mean, how much loss or whatever?
I want to say it's like $400 and something thousand for the parish of St. Landry, which is, it's a lot of money, but they used to let us count for Slemco with their losses because it's a co-op. Now they're not letting us use them. So, it's gonna be kind of hard for us to meet that threshold, but it is what it is. That's
So
their,
in other words, the numbers will have to be higher.
yes, sir. We're gonna have a hard time meeting, and I mean, it depends on what kind of disaster. Hurricane Gustav was in the millions, so it wouldn't have no trouble for that one, but like those disasters that might cost us $100,000, it cost the government $100,000, yeah. So that's the problem. And you don't know how to prepare for something because, like today, I was telling that to Mr. Taylor a while ago, today's meeting, they said, 3 to 5 inches, and isolated areas could be as much as 10 inches. So they cover themselves, and so we just preparing with sandbags, and we'll help, and tomorrow we'll see what happens. That's all we can do.
7 to 8 this morning was 4 to 5, so.
Now, one other thing, Mr. Taylor told me before the meeting that they opened the floodgates at, by Catawba, so that's a big plus.
Yeah.
To get some of that water off of us.
Being
But it takes like an act of Congress for that to happen.
Okay, I recognize, Mr. Marks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Mr. President, I attended that meeting and pretty much the frustration with local government and everyone else that has to deal with FEMA is the changing of criteria within itself. Every time you meet a criteria, they would always put something else in to make sure you follow that one before you can move to the next one. I hope after the first of the year, these things will be cleared up and be more precise and more specifics to where we don't have to do guesswork in order to go forward to take care of what needs to be taken care of. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what's happening. Hurricane Katrina came in, believe it or not, FEMA came in the old council room, at the courthouse, came across there and asked me how much money we needed for Katrina. And they gave us a check for $350,000 right there. Like, not a request, but a check. I could not believe that. And then since then, they stopped doing that. But we never did close out Katrina. The hard file is in the safe. If ever they want to close it out, we've been audited on that. Everything is fine, but they never did come out and actually close it. So, we're not saying do that by no means, but we're just saying do like ARA funding. It was accounted for and it was easy to manage.
All right, I recognize Mr. Lejeune.
Mr. Bellard, did they indicate that any of the funding would be cut going toward the people itself? You know how when we have a storm, a hurricane, what have you,
Right.
they issue assisted living, etc. Did they indicate any cuts to that at all? Is that still supposed to possibly be available to the
Yeah, nothing was.
the general
nothing was-
public?
Nothing was said about that at all. It was mainly the public side of it. Yeah. But to give you an example, kind of getting off subject, but not kind of the same thing, that clearance grant that we applied for, where we clean up all these properties.
Say that one more time, please.
The clearance grant, to tell you how much red tape they have involved in that, they are requiring us to do so many things that is going to cost us so much money with engineering and all kind of other things that there's not going to be a lot of money left to actually do the work of tearing down some houses. It's pathetic when you start looking at all the red tape that's involved. So it's just sad because they give you the grant. They say, here's $500,000 to tear down. I think we had 91 homes. There's no way we're going to have 91 homes tore down. No way. Because I got to hire engineers to go out there and do assessments and then make sure there's no asbestos. And then if they do have asbestos, how you going to remediate? It's a bunch of stuff that goes along with it, plus all of the legal work on it. Then whatever's left, tear the house down. So, and that's what's happening with FEMA. It's the same type of stuff. To go back to Mr. Marks' comment, they want to know when we use a chainsaw, who's operating that chainsaw, the brand, and the model number, and then they give you so much an hour for that particular chainsaw, not a chainsaw in general, a specific chainsaw. It's just so much that they won't account for. It just makes no sense, and it just, most people just don't even bother with it.
Would you say it's designed to discourage you?
Exactly.
My-
Exactly.
The way it's written.
My severe concerns is that we have a problem with finances as we sit here tonight. And knowing that if we have just a general storm that comes in, we spend $50,000, $100,000 that we already don't have. So looking at all the rainfall and everything that goes on within this parish, we're going to have to be very careful on how we move, because we're going to have to fill or set up some type of fund with any remaining balance of that revenue that's coming in. We won't be able to just spend it. It'll have to be set up for disaster funds. But in if anything happens, you don't have the money to pay to clean up the trees.
Nope, and that costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Councilwoman Carey.
Last question. So I know we're getting prepared with the sandbags. So, I know when I talked to, what's his name, that, I forgot, I can't think of it, slipped my mind about the really preparedness about the tarps.
Van?
Yeah, van, I'm sorry. Did we get any extra tarps or anything in case
He
someone
did,
calls for
he
things
did
like
get
that?
some, he did get some in, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
Yeah.
have
We
that
have
if
some,
someone
we
needs.
didn't, whenever we declare a state of emergency, we're able to order tarps, and it doesn't cost us anything. So that's one of the advantages of declaring it, is to order the stuff and then get it in and have, and how you don't use it for that storm, you can have it for the next one, so, yeah, we did get some.
Okay, Mr. Marks.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'm just closing out with this, is that we're just at the beginning of our hurricane season. The FEMA existence, laws, bylaws, guidances, whatever, is going to be in place until at least after the first of the year, maybe even longer, if you will, until it's implemented by the feds. So I don't see how we have a hope going forward with trying to take care of what needs to be taken care of.
It's really tough. Again, we go back to mandates that I harp on that all the time, and we take in, $2.6 million a year in general fund, and our mandates are 4.6. I don't care how you slice it, it just don't work. But that's on top of, this is just on top of that, and then whenever it's a storm and you got people trapped in homes or the roads got to be passable, the emergency vehicles got to be able to respond. We got to be out there pushing trees off the road, and then, believe it or not, if you push it off the road, FEMA sometimes tells you that you can't pick it up. But we're gonna pick it up, obviously. But we had an issue on 749. A man died and he hit that tree. We went and pushed that tree off that road and they said you can't pick it up now. Yeah. So again, FEMA's gonna have their guidelines, but over here on the local level, we're gonna do everything we can to help the people. And that's all we can do.
Okay, Mr. Stelly?
Mr. Bellard, does FEMA regulates their flood elevation and all
Oh,
of
Lord
that?
have mercy. Yes. So
They're ripping the people off with that.
part of this council is to look at that as well. And hopefully they do something with that. And it's terrible when it comes to that. And we got wrote up 71 violations over the past, I think it was 10 years. We've been adopting ordinances to address those concerns. But FEMA has no common sense whatsoever.
No.
The concrete plant by your place over there, Mr. Alvin, FEMA came to my office and said, I'm gonna have to go over there and make them strap every one of them covers down. If a flood comes, they gonna float away. I said, y'all do realize that's concrete. It don't matter, it's gonna float away. And I said, I'm not doing it.
That, I don't want to be here.
Exactly. So that's my problem with FEMA, is they don't have any common sense. But I fought them on that one and we won that battle, but we got 70 other violations that they wanted us to enforce, that there was no laws in place at the time that people built their homes. I can't go enforce a law that wasn't present at the time. So we have a lot of issues with FEMA, and when we talk about FEMA, it just gets my blood pressure kind of high.
Because look, I'm 83 years old, and they're putting the land putting that in a flood zone that I've never seen water close to it. But they're putting that in a flood zone.
Yep.
So who's getting the money out of that? The insurance people.
It's not good for us right now, but hopefully
If you
this
borrow
council,
money, and if you're in the flood zone, you gotta get out the flood zone, plus you still got to pay flood
Right.
insurance. Now that's ripping the people off.
Okay,
That's
Mr.
it.
Jolivet, that was it, Mr. Jolivet, you had a question?
I think it was answered.
It was answered, okay. Well, let's make sure that he was complete.
You're done?
Was that it with your parish president's report?
yes, sir.
That's it?
I second
Okay. I got a motion and a second on this side to
Second.
accept the report.
Mr. Wayne Aldwin,
Yes.
Mr. Timmy Legit,
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards,
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard,
Yes.
Miss Nancy Carrier,
Yes.
Mr. Paul Jollybat,
Yes.
Miss Mildred
Yes.
Berry, Mr. Harold Taylor, Mr. Ken Marks.
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly,
Yes.
Miss Vivian Olivier.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, moving on to new business. Items to pass through the committee. We have the council to vote on whether or not to go forward on work on blighted property located at 106 Hidalgo Road, Opelousas, Louisiana, owned by Mary Agason and Craig Agason.
Mr. Chair,
This,
please continue. I just had a question.
okay, this was one of the properties in reference to, they did communicate asking for a little bit more time.
I would ask that we would give them the time. What kind of time?
90 days.
90 days.
I would ask that we would vote yes for 90 days.
Okay, so
I'll
you
second
got a
that.
motion and a second to allow 90 days on item number 1.
Right.
Motion and a second.
Mr. Timmy Legit,
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards,
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard, Miss Nancy Carrier,
Yes.
Mr. Paul Jollybat,
Yes.
Miss Mildred Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Harold Taylor, Mr. Ken Marks.
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly.
Yes.
Miss Vivian Olivier,
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Aldwin.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Item number 2, the council to vote on whether or not to go forward on work on blighted property located at 494 Perry Drive in Opelousas, owned by Tammy Terrell Ned. That is also one of the communicators asking for more time.
So move.
Second.
So how much, let's be
90
specific
days.
on time.
90
We want
days.
90
90
days.
days.
Yes, okay.
Thank you.
Motion and a second.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards,
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard.
Yes.
Miss Nancy Carrier.
Yes.
Mr. Walter Jolivet.
Yes.
Miss Mildred Theory.
Yes.
Mr. Harold Taylor. Mr. Ken Marks.
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly.
Yes.
Miss Vivian Olivier. Miss Viv. Mr. Wayne Ordway.
Yes.
Mr. Timmy Lejeune.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, and to be clear, code enforcement, in reference to those first two, you're gonna contact those folks and be in contact to advise what's next for them. Okay, moving to number 3.
So what we'll do, we'll give them a copy of the minutes of the meeting that allows them to do 90 days and a letter to them, giving them the 90 days, yes.
Sounds good. Moving to number 3, the council to vote on whether or not to go forward on work on blighted property located at 311 Jolivet Road, Opelousas, owned by Charles Goodwill, Marjorie Goodwill, and Shannon Goodwill.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Question for Mr. President. Have we made any attempt to get in touch with?
We
these-
tried, and, I mean, they haven't done anything on the properties yet. So we did all of our due diligence, and then, of course, you know, y'all did your part, and they still haven't done anything, so
Did they communicate in any way?
not that I'm aware of.
Do we know if they got the correspondence? It was a letter, I take it?
That's gonna be Garrett on the,
Yes, so for each one of these properties, the letters, notices, and certificate of mailing is recorded by clerk of court's office by our council clerk as per the ordinance. Certified letter is sent out. Sometimes it comes back signed, sometimes it doesn't. And in case it doesn't, and many times it doesn't, a regular letter is sent out more than 10 days before the council meeting. And it's notifying the council meeting where they have an opportunity to show up and make comments about their blighted property. And then it culminates with our clerk recording the letters, notices, and certificate of mailing for each one of these properties with the clerk of court's office. And that is as per the ordinance, conforms to the ordinance. And then when it gets to this point, the council votes on whether to give them an extension, whether to go through with the work on the property or not to go through with the work on the property. And so yes, for each one of these properties, the ordinance is always complied with as far as the notices and recordings for clerk of court.
Right, but we're still not 100% sure if they received. You said we get some
Right.
responses
The,
back from the
the
certified
ordinance-
letters and some we do not.
The ordinance does not say they have to receive it, because if they're in another country, of course they're not gonna receive it. But the attempt has to be made by certified letter and then by regular letter. In case the certified letter comes back unsigned, as it does many times, then you record it all with clerk of court with certificate of mailing. And so in the future, if there's ever any contest to why the blighted property was taken care of, all of the recordings, so the clerk of court verifying that the blighted property ordinances was complied with each one of these properties every time. Our council clerk is very, very familiar with the process, and so she does it well, and I oversee it.
Well, my thing is, if they're just sure negligence here, I say we move on and do what we have to do. But our parish has to be cleaned up. But can we prove if there's sure negligence in some situations?
It has nothing to do with negligence, it has to do with having blighted property which could be dangerous and is in violation of an ordinance, and in addition to the benefits of residing in society, it also comes with responsibilities to comply with the laws and comply with the ordinances and not have dangerous buildings. And so that's where this comes in to to clear this property if the council votes in favor of doing so.
Well said.
Okay, Ms. Theory?
My concern is, are we certain that all of this communication actually got to these people? Do we have any way of knowing that they just not responding? Or maybe they didn't really get this? Do we have any evidence, any proof that this was actually delivered to them and they just choosing not to comply?
No, we have no, as to whether it's getting in their mailbox, they're receiving it, we have to be certain that we're complying with the blighted property ordinances, and we are certain of that, because that's what we have to be. As far as the people, it's different, situations where they may receive the mail, they don't, a lot of people don't respond to certified mail, but they get their regular mail. We have addresses and owners recorded with tax assessed on these properties, and we cross-check those owners and properties with the conveyance records to make sure we get all the owners and all of the addresses, and then we send the letters out, and we have to be certain that we comply with the ordinance, but of course, we don't know where all of these people are at any given moment.
Okay, Mr. Ordwine?
Mr. Chairman, I hear us going back and forth about should we give them an extension or should we not give them an extension? I mean, when you get served at your house with some papers, you go ahead and take care of what you need to take care of. In this matter here, I mean, why do we have code enforcement if we're not going to follow up on our ordinances that we have in place here? That's my question.
I think I agree with what you're saying, and I'm gonna say it in a different way. When the question was asked about evidence, well, I could say that one piece of evidence we do have is the property sitting there blighted with tall grass and buildings ready to fall. That is evidence to everyone that sees it. As far as evidence, if they're receiving a letter, we can't 100% say so, but the evidence is that property that everyone can see.
Well,
Okay,
and Mr. Chair, I'm not finished yet.
Hold on. I'm
I
sorry,
have
Mr.
some
Ordwine.
situations in Magnolia Ridge, and I got to give the due to that little lady that's in code enforcement, okay? Alyssa. She's taking care of business. But the thing about it is people live there. They want better neighborhoods. And it's just time for us to move. Because the thing about it is, why are we paying some people to do their job if they can't do their job?
I think I agree, but I gotta give it, okay.
I'm
Ms.
finished.
Carey?
Thank you.
Okay, sir, thank you.
So I just want to say this. Either we want to clean the parish or we don't. And at some point, Miss Alyssa, I think you go out and you check and you make sure and you look, you do your due diligence.
Microphone,
you follow the
please.
ordinance. You follow the ordinance and you go to the courthouse and you get the address. If they live in California, they live in Baton Rouge, you try to contact them the best way you can, like you would do any bill. And so I agree, as long as you're doing your due diligence and giving them that opportunity to respond, then nobody wants to have their property blighted or adjudicated. So if we're doing what we're supposed to do, because we also want to see the parish clean. And some people, we can't decide whether they're neglectful or whether it's intentional. We just have to do our job because, again, like you said, the proof is it is blighted. And it is the grass is tall or the building is falling down. So we either want to clean it or we don't. We're giving them the opportunity to do it. This is not a one-time letter, if I'm not wrong. You're constantly trying to reach that person. And after, maybe 3 or 4 times, you even put it in the paper, I think. So after that, I mean, if you live in Hawaii, it was your responsibility, if you know you own a piece of property in Louisiana, to maintain it. If you're going to come and pay your taxes, you should be able to say, well, let me see what my property look like.
Okay, wait, I have, okay, Mr.
So
Stiller, you
again, I
have
just want to close with saying this. So if we have people that are making an effort and they just need more time or they don't have the finances, that's the ones that I feel I'm going to vote for an extension for. But anything else, and if we made several attempts, then we have to move on things.
duly noted. Mr. Stiller, you had,
Well, I want to know how many times you got to give them an extension. Because I got one that's 3 years.
What's that an
Well,
extension?
3 years. We've been fighting with that. The sheriff goes, the parish goes, you'll take out a little bit, then right back again. I mean, it's time to do something.
Take on an extension. Yeah, we should get one extension. I don't
Well,
know
I
about how
think-
many extensions.
I think that it's not like he's got another extension, he just recreated the problem, so you have to start the process over again.
Blocks
I
the
know the
road. He
situation.
does everything.
Okay. All right, Mr. Lejeune?
I make a motion, we move forward on this item, please.
Let's go.
I second.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard,
Yes.
Miss Nancy Carrier,
Yes,
Mr. Fulton Jollyvet,
Yes.
Miss Mildred
Yes.
Berry, Mr. Harold Taylor, Mr. Harold Taylor, Mr. Ken Marks.
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly,
Yes.
Miss Vivian Olivier,
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Ordway,
Yes.
Mr. Timmy Lejeune,
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Item number 4, the council to vote on whether or not to go forward on work on blighted property located at 958 Highway 749, Opelousas, owned by Robert Louis Fontenot.
Make a motion, we go forward.
Second.
Miss Nancy Carrier.
yes,
Mr. Fulton Jollyvet,
Yes.
Miss Mildred
Yes.
Berry, Mr. Harold Taylor, Mr. Ken Marks,
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly, Miss Vivian Olivier,
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Ordway,
Yes.
Mr. Timmy Lejeune,
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards. Mr. Jimmy Edwards,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ernest Blanchard.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Number 5, authorize Parish President Jesse Bellard to go forward with the sale of 9 adjudicated properties.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Fulton Jollyvet.
Yes.
Miss Mildred
Yes.
Berry, Mr. Harold Taylor, Mr. Ken Marks,
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly, Miss Vivian Olivier,
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Ordway,
Yes.
Mr. Timmy Lejeune,
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards,
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard.
Yes.
Miss Nancy Carrier.
yes.
Motion passed.
Item number 6, vote to reappoint Julian Rito and Angelique Fogelman for 2 appointments to Public Works Commission, District 5, for a 4-year term.
Second.
Miss Mildred Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Harold Taylor, Miss Ken Marks,
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly, Miss Vivian Olivier,
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Ordway,
Yes.
Mr. Timmy Lejeune,
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards,
Yes.
Ernest Blanchard,
Yes.
Miss Nancy Carrier, Mr. Fulton Jollyvet.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Number 7, vote to reappoint Jason Howe for 1 appointment to Public Works Commission, District 6, for a 4-year term.
So moved.
Mr. Fulton Jollyvet,
Yes.
Miss Mildred Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Harold Taylor, Mr. Ken Marks,
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly, Miss Vivian Olivier,
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Ordway,
Yes.
Mr. Timmy Lejeune, Mr. Jimmy Edwards,
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard, Miss Nancy Carrier. Motion passed.
Ordinances to be introduced. Ordinance number 2025-020, an ordinance to sell the following 47 properties listed on this ordinance that have been adjudicated to St. Landry Parish government. I'm reading 47. Is it 47?
That's the way it's
It
typed.
was 47.
So this is where we're gonna have a little problem. What I have in front of me is what was emailed to everybody last week, which is what was sent to the news, to the media. It says 48 pieces of property. Y'all have something that says 47. That means they corrected something on here after it was sent out.
Excuse me, Mr. President. Sherelle, when I was out, when I came back Monday morning, Sherelle said we needed to change because she got an email stating that it had changed from 48 properties to 47 properties. And over Thursday, when we sent everything to the media, it did go out with 48 properties, but she got an email stated it changed to 47.
I don't disagree with that. All I'm saying is what we emailed, what we sent to the media and the news outlets and stuff, is what should be in the agenda. You can't change it once it's out. So there's no doubt that somebody did go out there and buy their, or pay their taxes. But that could be brought up at the that whenever we get the bids in, we say that somebody bought that piece of property or somebody redeemed their property. We can't change it once y'all advertise. That's
Okay,
what I'm
I'll
saying.
inform her. Thank you.
Do we,
Oh,
I'd rather not, because we have everything on the schedule, like, we have our sales, we have 4 sales a year, so everything is on a time schedule. I'm just saying, maybe Gary can shed some light on this, but whatever we advertise is what we should be talking
yeah,
about.
how do we fix it at this point?
When I reviewed, the agenda, I didn't know that the number had changed. The number shouldn't change once it goes to the Eunice News. So in between introduction and passage, the sponsor, I guess could alter that. Once you bring it up for, passage, then it doesn't change.
Okay, so we need a sponsor for it and.
Chairman, I'll sponsor it, and then, like Mr. Bellard said, then they're gonna change the figures whenever, because somebody's gonna redeem their property. And someone else may redeem their property before
By
the
that
sale
time.
goes down.
Correct, correct.
Once they see the light is dim, they might come up and bring the money that they need to bring.
Okay.
So I'm gonna sponsor it.
So it's 48
No,
or
that's good.
47?
Moving on.
So at this point, we have a sponsor with Mr. Ordwin.
For 48, I so moved.
It's 48?
48.
48 properties.
Are they all listed on this page?
What we brought to the parish, committee meetings is what it should be listed, correct?
This is the list here, I believe.
Yeah, whatever list I gave y'all at the committee meeting, it should have 48 pieces, yes, sir.
Okay,
no, it's just a matter of record change, is that correct?
yes. You have
Have a
something, Mr.
sponsor.
Taylor? All right, so we do have a sponsor. Mr. Ordwin. Okay, moving to ordinance number 2025-021. An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2022-011, which was enacted by the St. Andrew Parish Council on July 19th, 2022, and which is an ordinance to abandon a portion of Parish Road, Old US 190 in Township 6 South, Range 6 East of Section 12 in St. Andrew Parish.
I got that one.
That's Mr. Taylor? All right, sponsored by Mr. Taylor. Ordinance is to be adopted. Ordinance number 2025-018, sponsored by Councilwoman Vivian Olivier. An ordinance to amend St. Andrew Parish Ordinance Chapter 44, Section 44-14, so that Chris Road, Clarence Cormier Road, and Domingo Road in Opelousas, Louisiana, can be included on the list of roads in St. Andrew Parish designated as no truck or 18-wheeler through traffic routes.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Ms. Mildred Theory,
Yes.
Mr. Harold Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Ken Marks.
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly, Ms. Vivian Olivier,
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Ordway,
Yes.
Mr. Timmy Lejeune, Mr. Jimmy Edwards,
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard, Ms. Nancy Carrier,
Yes.
Mr. Faucher Jollyvan.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Ordinance number 2025-019, sponsored by Councilman Faucher Jollyvan. An ordinance to amend the procedures for collection of charges for St. Andrew Parish government's abatement of nuisance violations by mandating the charges, one, be added to annual ad valorem tax bills by the tax assessor or tax collector, and two, to be collected by the tax collector. Need a motion and a second?
So move.
Second.
Mr. Harold Taylor.
Yes.
Mr. Ken Marks,
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly.
Yes.
Ms. Vivian Olivier,
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Ordway,
Yes.
Mr. Timmy Lejeune,
Yeah.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards,
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard.
Yes.
Miss Nancy Carrier,
Yes.
Mr. Faucher Jollyvan,
Yes.
Miss Mildred Theory.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Resolutions to be adopted. Resolution number 015-2025.
Think we voted on that one already.
No.
Parish President's report.
No, not
So
on this
moved.
one. No.
Second.
It wasn't on it.
introduced.
That's what this young gentleman is here for. Different
No,
one.
this
Thank you. I'm
resolution
sorry, but-
asking, giving the permission to
For the
call for
independent
a tax.
audit, okay.
You can call it for renewal.
Okay, yeah, because according to what I'm looking at, it doesn't really state what it,
Yeah.
If we didn't vote, y'all didn't vote on that yet, Mr.
No.
White?
Got a motion and a second.
That's for the audit, yeah.
It's accepting the independent audit. That's all it is.
okay, yeah, I mean, Darnell Sykes and Frederick, a certified public accounting firm, performed an independent financial audit of St. Andrew Parish government. It's not telling me.
Yeah, it's saying just to accept the audit,
Right.
the last paragraph.
Okay,
So move, we accept
so dated July 16th, 2025 is accepted.
Accept, yeah.
the audit report.
All right, so if we understand where we're at, we have a motion and a second.
we are voting on, resolution 015. We did amend the agenda to add 17 and 18
Right,
resolutions.
I was gonna go to them after 16,
Okay.
then I was gonna stay in line with it. But this is for number 015,
Yes, sir.
015.
015.
All right. So we have, who made the motion?
I did, I guess.
Okay,
Second.
motion and a second. All right.
Mr. Ken Marks?
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly?
Yes.
Ms. Vivian Olivier?
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Aldwin?
Yes.
Mr. Timmy Lejeune?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard? Ms. Nancy Carrier? Mr. Falter Jollivet?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Mildred Theory?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Resolution number 016-2025, a resolution approving the holding of an election in fire protection District number 3 of the Parish of St. Landry, State of Louisiana, on Saturday, November 15th, 2025, to authorize the renewal of a special tax therein.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Alvin Stelly?
Yes.
Ms. Vivian Olivier?
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Aldwin?
Yes.
Mr. Timmy Lejeune?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard? Ms. Nancy Carrier? Mr. Paltry Jollivet?
Yes.
Ms. Mildred Theory?
Yes.
Mr. Harold Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Ken Morris?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, and now, resolutions that was amended, added to the agenda, resolution number 017-2025, a resolution authorizing the president to execute an agreement with the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development for improvements at the St. Andrew Parish Airport.
So made. Motion.
Got a
Second.
motion and a second.
Mr. Timmy Lejeune?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard?
Yes.
Ms. Nancy Carrier?
Yes.
Mr. Paltry Jollivet?
Yes.
Ms. Mildred Theory?
Yes.
Mr. Harold Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Ken Marks? Mr. Alvin Stelly?
Yes.
Ms. Vivian Olivier?
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Aldwin?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Resolution number 018-2025, a resolution authorizing the president to execute an agreement with the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development for improvements at the St. Andrew Parish Airport.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard?
Yes.
Ms. Nancy Carrier?
Yes.
Mr. Paltry Jollivet?
Yes.
Ms. Mildred Theory? Mr. Harold Taylor? Mr. Ken Marks?
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly?
Yes.
Ms. Vivian Olivier? Mr. Wayne Aldwin?
Yes.
Mr. Timmy Lejeune? Motion passed.
And the last amendment to the agenda was to authorize the council clerk to advertise for one appointment to the Kool-Aid Crush Gravity Drainage District number 22 for the remainder of a 4-year term.
So move.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Ernest Blanchard?
Yes.
Ms. Nancy Carrier?
Yes.
Mrs. Paltry Jollivet?
Yes.
Ms. Mildred Theory? Mr. Harold Taylor? Mr. Ken Marks?
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly?
Yes.
Ms. Vivian Olivier?
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Aldwin?
Yes.
Ms. Timmy Lejeune?
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Moving on, motion to accept the Administrative Finance Committee meeting minutes.
I move, Mr. Chairman, as typed.
Okay, question?
Question already, Mr. Bello, concerning that barbecue fest. I don't know if there was a typo on the agenda, but I had requested in the council meeting earlier.
Talking your mic, talking your mic.
On the barbecue fest, how much money was donated to the parish for that event to happen? Do you have a close figure with you?
We were at 56,000 some odd dollars in donations for sponsorships this year.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not completely finished with everything, but that's where we were last week whenever I checked.
Would you please give us an update, and I would like to put that on committee, please? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I want to just add to that, and how much money did we make?
We're not gonna make no money on that.
Not on the donations.
No, I mean,
but
we're
we
not gonna make no money on the fair, no.
Oh, we didn't come out of, we're not in a hole.
We're not in the hole, but we're not gonna make any money. That's not a money-making adventure for the parish, it's just something for the community.
So
Okay.
in other words, what was the revenue, total revenue from donations and
It
fees
was,
and so forth?
Little over 100,000 from what I remember. I'm not exactly sure, she's doing the report now. Because we got some expenses that comes in later and some of the returns that you get credit on, so I'm not exactly sure of the number, but we did the best we ever did this year.
Okay, did we have a motion and a second
We
to
have a
accept
motion.
those?
We need a second. Miss Nancy Carrier,
Yes.
Mr. Paul Jolly.
Yes.
Miss Mildred Theory,
Yes.
Mr. Harold Taylor, Mr. Ken Marks,
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly,
Yes.
Miss Vivian Olivier,
Yes.
Mr. Wayne Ordway,
Yes.
Mr. Timmy Lejeune,
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards,
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard. Motion passed.
Okay, motion to accept St. Andrew Parish Council Public Works Committee meeting.
I move.
Second.
Mr. Paul Jolly,
Yes.
Miss Mildred Theory,
Yes.
Mr. Harold Taylor, Mr. Ken Marks,
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly,
Yes.
Miss Vivian Olivier,
Yes.
Miss Wayne Ordway,
Yes.
Mr. Timmy Lejeune,
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards,
Yes.
Mr. Ernest Blanchard, Miss Nancy Carrier. Motion passed.
Yes, ma'am.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Miss Mildred Theory,
Wake
Yes.
up now, baby.
Mr. Harold Taylor, Mr. Ken Marks,
Yes.
Mr. Alvin Stelly, Miss Vivian Olivier, Mr. Wayne Ordway, Mr. Timmy Lejeune,
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Edwards, Mr. Ernest Blanchard,
Yes.
Miss Nancy Carrier, Mr. Paul Jolly.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Meeting adjourned.